Hey guys, gotta unlock the car real quick. Look at those circuit demon taillights. I want to make a quick video letting you guys know about all the things that went wrong or broke or got damaged or whatever during the road trip with the Legacy. Over the 10,000 miles the Legacy took, I want to show you guys what went wrong, what broke, and what got damaged. Now, before we get started, I want to give a quick shout to this video sponsor, Surfshark VPN. If you guys aren't aware about what a VPN is a virtual private network, VPN, that allows you to keep all of your internet browsing data secured, every password, every credit card you put in, keeping that secured and away from people that shouldn't have that information. Not only does it keep you safe and secure online, Surfshark has a ton of other benefits. One of the most popular being that it allows you to surf not just the US Netflix library, but up to 15 other different countries' Netflix libraries as well. So let's say you want to watch a show in America that's not available in the UK or vice versa. You can go ahead and change where your location is on the app or on your computer, and you could watch that Netflix show on your computer now. You can kind of trick your internet into thinking you're in a different location than you actually are using Surfshark VPN. Surfshark has 24-hour customer service and also allows for unlimited devices. So everybody in your house can use Surfshark to keep themselves safe from malware, phishing, and also watch Netflix from, wherever the heck they want. Right now, Surfshark is running an awesome Black Friday deal just for you guys using the coupon code Krispy. With that, you will get 84% off and 4 months free up until Black Friday. Once Black Friday is over, that deal will no longer be the same. It'll go back down to, I think, like 1 month free or something like that. But use the coupon code now. Sign up. There'll be my link down there in the video description. Surfshark, thank you for sponsoring this video. Guys, get on Surfshark. Use the VPN. I have it here on my phone. I'll pull it up real quick. I'm browsing real quick right now. I'm using the application right here, the VPN on my phone. You can use it on your phone, on your computer, wherever. Keep yourself safe and also get a great deal. Surfshark, thank you for sponsoring. Links down below. Let's continue on to the video. All right, so we're going to start with some of the obvious stuff that you guys saw that happened, that we documented on the road trip underneath the hood. Some things that weren't the most fun stuff to happen. So as you guys know, while we were on the road trip, you guys saw it, our power steering pulley, the nut came off of the power steering pulley, the assembly here, and it was pretty much just held on by our AN fitting, and we lost power steering, and that's how we noticed it, which also caused the splines within the pulley to pretty much get eroded, and we needed an entire new power steering assembly. We had to go source one of those from a junkyard. That's the only part that's not painted black in here now is our power steering pump, but we can go ahead and take care of that later. But we had to go and get a new power steering assembly totally while we were in California. And then also, one of the other big things that happened underneath the hood, which we thought was possibly rod knock or something, was our timing belt tensioner. That was inside here, flapping around. You guys saw that clip. But our timing belt tensioner went and was flopping around our belt, and it sounded like rod knock, which was extremely scary, but it wasn't, which was good. So we just got the timing belt tensioner replaced by Yimmy Sport. Shout out to Yimmy Sport. And that was probably one of the more scarier things to happen during the road trip. That sounded like it could have been worse, but wasn't. Otherwise, underneath the hood, we didn't have too many problems. Everything was pretty much running as it should. Area 1320, the IAG block, everything worked in accordance and did as it should, other than some coolant leaks. You guys can see we still need to kind of clean some of this stuff off from our most recent bleeds. We wound up having a leak in the coolant system, which we didn't know about during the trip. We couldn't tell where it's coming from. We didn't have a leak down kit. When we got back from the trip, we rented a leak down kit, and we noticed there was a leak coming from back near the heater core. Back there was 2 coolant leaks coming from those 2 right there, and that's where we were getting air bubbles in the system, and that caused us to have to bleed the system multiple times. That caused the car to overheat multiple times on the last 2 days of the road trip, as you guys saw. Sucks it was just on the last 2 days, but it's a good thing it didn't happen in the middle of nowhere. And we did have access to like roadside stops and whatnot. But that happened and caused coolant to be pissed all over the engine bay. You guys saw there was a ton of coolant at certain points. We still need to clean some of it up. It looked a lot worse than it was. But we fixed those leaks since. Cody, shout out to Cody, helped me fix those leaks since. I've driven the Legacy since, and we haven't had any more coolant issues. So those air bubbles have worked their way out. Ignore the washers here. These will also be replaced. We didn't have what we needed at the time. So Zach put together some washers here. And that's our tensioners. That's ignore that. But that also happened during the road trip. That was an Area 1320. That will be replaced while the car is away over winter. Also, something a little small, not too major, but something small that went wrong during the trip is while we were on the side of the road and we were just frantically trying to get the car back on the road, dealing with coolant issues on the side of the highway late at night with trucks roaring by us. We kind of scratched up our Cobb air oil separator. I'm sorry. We just, we used the tools that we had at hand. And we're just trying to get off the side of the road as semis were coming past us. So we kind of scratched that up a little bit. Again, not the end of the world, but another little thing that happened during the trip. While we're in the front of the car here, also you'll notice this different STI lip that's on here. We had our Giala carbon fiber front lip that you guys saw at SEMA and in the previous road trip vlogs. Well, when we were in Florida, that bit a tire in the middle of the road at the night that just popped up out of nowhere, and I couldn't swerve around it, and we hit the tire, which broke our carbon fiber Giala front lip that I just spent like $300 or $200 before the trip to get kind of repaired, which stinks. But you guys can see we just have this poly lip on there right now. I don't know if I want to get another Giala carbon fiber front lip. Let me know if I should in the comments. It's like a $600 carbon fiber front lip plus Japan shipping. I don't know if I want to get another one. I love the way it looks, and I just love how it completes the front end of the car. But $600 plus Japan shipping is just a lot of money. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys think I should get another Giala carbon fiber front lip or just live with this poly one for now, this eBay one. While we're on the topic, on the front bumper here, you guys can see this is where the Giala carbon fiber front lip end piece kind of came up. You guys remember how we had the end plate on the carbon fiber front lip kind of came up from rubbing and wind and bumps or whatever. It eventually eroded away the paint on the front bumper from rubbing on it so much. You guys can see that now on our front bumper. It rubbed all the way through the paint. Let's see if we can get that. It rubbed all the way through the paint down to the bumper itself. So that was pretty noticeable, and that's like yellow. Obviously, we can just color over that, but we're going to redo the entire bumper anyway, which we'll talk about in a second. Actually, you know what? I have the Giala carbon fiber lip on my deck. Here is what is left of the Giala carbon fiber front lip. We just picked it up in that so we didn't get splinters in our hands, but here's the lip. It is repairable, the guy said, and they can create like a new end plate here. Another body shop, they said they can create a new end plate here, the exterior piece of this, but they said it would cost them just about the same amount to repair this entire lip as it would to just buy a new one. So it sucks, but see this end piece right here, how this comes up and around, that's what we're missing, this exterior bit right here. We have this inside piece over there, but we're missing this outside piece that must have got flown on the highway. But it's a $600 lip in pieces. It made it like 9,000 miles, so props to that. Some other minor things is the rubber trim we had just placed around some of our exterior carbon fiber bits came off on the trip. You guys can see this. Well, we just tucked it in there so it didn't flop around, but this rubber trim that we had just put on came off. Not the world's biggest deal. We'll get new rubber trim on there. Not a crazy big deal. It also happened to our damp piece down here. You guys can see we also just kind of tucked that in so it didn't flop around. I don't know if you guys can tell that much, but also here in the rear, our exhaust, it was perfectly even. The tips were perfectly even, and now one is hanging a little bit lower than the other. It looks like the left side is hanging a little bit lower, so we just might need to readjust our exhaust. Maybe something got bumped along the way, along 10,000 miles. So we just need to readjust our vibrant titanium exhaust tips, but nothing too major there. You guys can't really see it. I'm trying to slow down my talking. I realize I talk so fast in these videos. I'm sorry. You guys can't really see it, but behind this wheel, our trailer arm bushings in the rear are pretty much shot, so we need to get new trailer arm bushings or that whole new assembly. We're not sure. We need to take a better look at it and see if we need a whole new control arm or whatever we want to do. But because of that, we think that, and obviously the amount of camber we're running in the rear, which is about -8 degrees at ride height, give or take, we had to replace the tires. We flipped the tires. We had to replace them as well. So an entire set of tires was a casualty of this road trip, to be expected, from the constant driving, just always being on the tire. Normally your tires would last more than a month, even with this much camber, but how much constant driving we did, 10,000 plus miles, it's not really a big surprise. But we had to swap the tires out, our Toyo tires out. But yeah, we're gonna need new trailer arm bushings or new control arm or trailer arm in general, that whole assembly maybe underneath is we're gonna need, so that way we could, we don't have to worry about our toe or our alignment being thrown off because of that. You guys also saw in the vlog when we were at Legends Garage with Tim, our reverse lockout cable underneath the car pretty much got sheared away from rubbing against the drive shaft so much. So that was also an issue we had to deal with, is our reverse lockout cable. We also now need to get replaced. Put in a picture here of that reverse lockout cable kind of getting shaved away by the drive shaft, and it was making some noises as we were driving. We were trying to figure out what it was, and then Ryan from Area 1320 was like, your reverse lockout cable is probably hitting against the drive shaft, and lo and behold, that's what it was. Easy fix. Now, I'll show you guys the rock chips on the hood and on the bumper because I know you guys are probably really wanting to see how that held up over the 10,000 miles. But first, I'm just going to key on the... Actually, I don't need to turn the car on. I'm just going to key the car on to air it up real quick and show you guys something that was the biggest hit to me. Well, there go our... Yeah. I have to air up to show you. So as the car is slowly airing up over here, you guys can see what I'm alluding to if you look at our fender. As you guys can tell, our fender got eaten away at some point. We first noticed a crack in the fender when we were out with the Eliminate boys, and then over the course of the trip, being on a trailer, it got a little bit worse and worse as we went, and now it sits like this. You guys can see the exposed Bondo underneath here. You guys can see the exposed Bondo. This was supposed to be done in all metal. I wanted this fender redone in metal because this fender had cracked twice before. It had 2 Bondo jobs twice before it, which had both cracked and gave way. So before SEMA, we wanted to get this done in metal, which wasn't done, but it is what it is. At this point, we're gonna take it to a shop and have this entire body panel, this whole fender pretty much reskinned and get this done in metal if that's what it takes. Whatever it takes pretty much to get this fender done in metal, so that way it acts like the other side and does not chip and break away like you guys can see this one did here. Also, we're aired all the way up now, but you hear that sound? It still sounds like our compressors are running, but they're not. That sound is actually our... That sound is actually the heater. Turn that off. Yeah, we got to take the dash back out and figure that out. And the other casualty that happened back here is nothing major, rotiform. We're sorry. Our LVS-M suffered a little bit of curbage, which we're going to get repaired. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Over 10,000 miles and just a little bit of curbage and a little bit of fender. A lot of bit of fender crack, not that bad at the end of the day. So we're gonna bring the car to the storage unit and take the wheel off and get that wheel repaired easily and just repolished. It won't be anything too crazy, but that fender is gonna need a little bit of work and love. Something else that I'll go ahead and tie into the road trip that happened before the road trip is our air ride setup looks a little bit different than... Is it a spider? Bro, you gotta... Hold on, guys. Not on the Alcantara. Okay, like we were saying, something that I'll atone or put together with the road trip is, you guys remember our rear setup looked a little bit different at SEMA and previously the Serious Innovation setup with the 2 tanks on the side. And now you guys saw we had on the road trip this tank. Now we have 2 tanks instead of 3, and now we have compressors as well. Well, our CVT tank was giving us problems, wouldn't stop overheating, and pretty much what we had to do the day before the road trip, the night before the road trip, when Track Zach flew in, we had to take the car over to Swoops, who does some amazing air ride installations, custom one-off stuff. Had him pretty much redo this entire trunk setup for the sake of the CVT causing us a lot of problems. So the CVT that's still down here, this is still the CVT tank, but the compressor within the CVT no longer functions because that's what was overheating and giving our setup so many issues. So now we have these 2 compressors feeding both tanks that pretty much gave us no issues along the trip. We have a slight leak somewhere in a line that is causing the rear to air out a little bit, but not the end of the world. We know the leak is there, and it's nothing major. We'll also get that sorted over winter. But the night before we left for the road trip, we had to get this pretty much set up entirely reworked, which cost a lot of money to do rushly and rightly. Rushed and right. Anyway, I know those 2 usually don't go together, but they were done by Swoops correctly. It's just, you know, cost a pretty penny before the road trip, which kind of stunk. So that's all that was really happened with the air ride. Otherwise, air ride was flawless for the entire trip, which was amazing. The interior of the Legacy pretty much held up the entire time. Nothing really went too wrong. I could see some wear already starting on these Recaros. We haven't really driven them much, but I could see a little bit of wear starting on the side and the bolstering from coming in and out so much. But otherwise, the interior pretty much held up. Some of our interior from sitting outside is starting to come up. You guys can see up here on the top of the dash, starting to come up a little bit. I know some of you guys noticed that. We also noticed, besides from some of this interior coming up from being outside for a month, probably, and the glue coming off, we also noticed that this perforation that we put up here, that DID put up here, which was a great idea, so allow some of our defroster to still come out. Doesn't let too much defroster comes out. So you guys saw when we were in Texas, that blocked probably a little bit too much of the defroster and caused our front window to overheat a lot. So we might have to come up with a solution for that. Otherwise, this car shouldn't and won't be driven too much in the winter. That was like the only case scenario that this car will probably ever see snow, other than going to take some photos or video in the snow. That Texas snowstorm was probably the only time this window will ever fog up or freeze up like that. We noticed somewhere underneath the car, we also are starting to get a slow exhaust leak or rattling of some sort. There is a hanger or something loose here. I'll start the car really quick so you guys can hear and maybe kind of pinpoint what you guys think the sound might be. We haven't really gotten the car up once we've heard the noise yet to really check out underneath the car what is going on. But we'll start the car up real quick and you guys can hear. There's a slight like metal rattle coming from underneath the car, which we think is just like a hanger or part of the exhaust system maybe has a small leak in it or something like that we need to get this car up on a lift and check out. But again, nothing major, but it did happen during the course of a 10,000 mile road trip. Also, got a chip in the front carbon fiber grille. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but we got a chip in the carbon fiber front grille right here. Not anything too crazy. Yes, it sucks, but not too bad. Ooh, a little bit of cold start sounds. Let me kill the car so you guys can hear what I'm saying. We'll kill the car real quick. And now obviously I know what you guys want to see and really notice is how did our front bumper and the hood hold up to rock chips on a 10,000 plus, let me close this real quick, on a 10,000 plus mile road trip. And honestly, not that bad. On the hood, there isn't a ton of rock chips. You guys saw when we had the marks from the salt going up the hood, that looked crazy and insane. Otherwise, not a ton of rock chips. You guys can see, I'll point out a few here. I'll try to even zoom in on them. I know it's gonna be hard to see, but there's rock chips right there on the hood. There's some right to the right of it. I know you guys are probably saying, Chris, why didn't you wrap the car? Why didn't you get the bumper at least, or the hood at least wrapped in a protective film or whatnot? It would have been nice to. We didn't have the time to exactly. And there was just so much leading up to the road trip. We just didn't have time to. Every second with the car was getting the car ready for the road trip in running condition, in running order, in safe order. So we didn't really have time for that. And otherwise, I'll fill you guys in. We're just fully redoing our front bumper anyway. So there wouldn't really be a point to wrap the front bumper in a protective film. But otherwise, on the hood, there's a few more like small rock chips. I'll move my stupid ugly shadow out of the way. There's a few small rock chips there. There's a few here. Maybe there's one here. Nothing crazy. The biggest one, oh yeah, the biggest one is like right here. I'll try to zoom in on it for you guys. The biggest rock chip is kind of right here on the hood. You guys can see that section of chip right there. That's kind of the biggest one. But even if you look at like my thumb, it's, you know, fairly small, but it's the largest one on the hood. That's the craziest thing. The hood scoop, the carbon fiber hood scoop is totally fine. Nothing really wrong there. Our carbon fiber piece up there, the cowl, totally fine. The front bumper didn't fare as well. You can see my reflection there. It's kind of littered in rock chips. There's a big one here. There's a ton here. There's a ton here. Everywhere there's a ton of rock chips. In our carbon fiber front, oh, that doesn't exist anymore. There's a huge one right there. This entire front piece in front of our Cobb intercooler is also kind of scattered with rock chips. And you guys can see we also need to space out this front piece from our intercooler a little bit more because any bump we get, stuff like that, kind of hits the bumper. So we kind of need to space this. We kind of need to space this a little bit farther out, like another centimeter or two away from the intercooler. As you guys can see, it's kind of eating away and hitting against the intercooler, the Cobb from that intercooler. When we hit a bump or whatever, you guys can see. So a new body shop will handle that. But you guys can see there. Look how many rock chips. Wow, that's showing the mirror finish of the paint, but I don't want to show that. I want to show the rock chips. Hold on, let me you guys can see there's rock chips all over the bumper here. They're kind of littered. The camera doesn't really want to focus on it too much. I mean, I understand why. We were 100% planning to redo this front end of the Legacy anyway. What we want to do for the bumper anyway, other than repainting it, is we want to get these housings, fog light housings, kind of reshaped and redone. And we want to get the cut that comes around our intercooler piping. We want to get those cuts done a little bit differently, a little bit evenly, a little bit more not SEMA rushied, if that makes sense for you guys. So we want to work out something with Troy's Auto Body or whatever shop we wind up going to that kind of blocks this off. Maybe there's a block off plate instead of just seeing the fog light housing to make this look a little bit more cleaner. So maybe we mold the fog light housing fully closed and we get like a nice cutout around our intercooler piping that comes through here. and that gets this cut done a little bit more smoothly, gets it a little bit closer maybe, or spaces it out properly. You guys know that we need to adjust our spacing here a little bit more. Something for the sake of making the front look a little bit more cleaner, as these cuts were done quickly to get the car to SEMA and ready for SEMA. So we want to get, you know, like maybe a block off here, just get this molded, and then the entire front bumper is going to get repainted as well. So that will be the same case on this side for this fog light housing where the intercooler piping comes through. Get these cuts done a little bit differently, you know, block this off fully so that there isn't just like a massive fog light housing hole there where there is no fog light anymore. So we're gonna get that taken care of probably over winter as well. So the front end will probably look totally new after winter once we're done. Another small casualty, but nothing major, is we scratched our windshield here when we put our windshield wipers on the wrong way one time. So there's a little bit of a gauge, a little bit of gouge here in the windshield. When we were in the rush, during the rush trip, putting our windshield wipers back on, we kind of scratched the windshield there a little bit because we had the wrong windshield wiper on. You guys saw those in the vlogs as well, but nothing major. There are a few chips in the windshield, nothing crazy. I don't think we really got any crazy major rock chips in the windshield. There's this one like right here above my finger, if the camera will focus. Yeah, you guys can see that one right there. Nothing crazy. Maybe we can replace it through insurance or whatnot. But honestly, this car held up amazing for 10,000 plus miles, only breaking a few times and a few rock chips and a broken lip really being the only major casualties. Honestly, I'm super happy and super impressed with how this car held up over a 10,000 mile road trip. Now, the damages that happened during the road trip, who knows how much it's going to cost to get all that fixed. The rear fender, getting that rear fender replaced, getting that rear fender done in metal, getting that rear fender painted, and getting the front bumper kind of custom molded and custom painted again with the House of Colors paint that we use. It's House of Colors Raspberry for anybody wondering. Getting those two things done are probably going to be the most expensive because that's expensive, like 4-stage paint, I think. And custom molding in the front is obviously, and like bodywork in the front is going to cost some money, and the metal work for the fender is going to cost some money. So those are some things I think that will be the most costly. Otherwise, stuff that I'll live with, like I'll live with the rock chips in the hood. I'll probably leave that. It's nothing crazy. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like battle scars. You know, what would you guys do? Would you guys leave it and like have those memories of the car, and somebody asks, dude, how come you didn't get those rock chips replaced? Well, that's from this one time I took a month-long 10,000 plus mile road trip with my 700 horsepower, -8-degree camber Subaru across the country. So there's a cool story that goes along with it. What would you guys do? Would you maybe leave some of those other ones, or would you just get it all back to brand new, back to pre-SEMA? This car held up great. Area 1320 that built it, all the sponsors that did an amazing part in making this build possible, making all the parts we have in this car possible. Thank you guys. And obviously thank you guys for watching this road trip series and enjoying that road trip series. Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Meguiar's Black and Grease Monkey Gloves for sponsoring the road trip. I tried to talk slower this video. I know I definitely didn't. But that's everything that went wrong with the Legacy during the cross-country road trip. That's everything that broke. That's everything that had an error, a fault on the Legacy. Obviously, the van had its own issues when it ran over a drive shaft dropped by a semi-truck. This car is going to go away for the winter, probably put it in the storage unit. We'll get it over to Troy's Auto Body or whoever's going to do the bodywork and the paint over the winter. Then probably early spring, we'll bring it to Area 1320, change all the minor stuff we want to do, maybe put back in my brake booster. We'll see, and a bunch of other small things as well, and then get the car back out to some car shows next year. Hopefully there will be some car shows in 2021. This car still hasn't seen any car shows. That's crazy. And like, we didn't do any fan meetups along the road trip or viewer meetups along the road trip because I didn't want to be the guy that made a viewer get COVID or something like that, you know? So not many people have seen the car, right? SEMA, yes, but like not many of you guys have been able to see the car. I want you guys to see the car. I want you guys to sit in the car. I want you guys to rev the car. Enjoy the car. I want you guys to be there and see it in person and photograph it and like have this car shot some more. We haven't really got that chance to yet. So hopefully spring next year, things will hopefully be back to normal. We'll have the car back from paint and body. We'll have the car out of Area 1320 again, and we'll go ahead and enjoy the car. We'll give it some full pulls. We'll do POV runs. We'll do more features of it. We'll have Halcyon film it. Cody can take some more photos of it, and yeah, we'll have a good time. Thank you guys for watching everything. Again, thank you for supporting me, making this stuff possible, making me able to get cool sponsors like Meguiar's, Blackview, Grease Monkey, Surfshark, to be able to do cool videos like this and do cross-country trips and all type of jazz. That's everything that went wrong with the Legacy during our 20,000 plus mile road trip, 10,768 on the Legacy. Look out for the Black Friday merch release drop if that hasn't happened already. It's happening Black Friday. And there'll also be a merch release with the release of the cine recap of the trip. So look out for that as well. That's probably coming sometime in December, Christmas maybe. We'll see. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate if you guys aren't already subscribed. Make sure to subscribe down below for more cool videos about my 700 horsepower Subaru Legacy GT wagon, 6-speed swap, turbo at the front grille, -8 degrees of camber, custom rotiform wheels, and a full Alcantara interior. Anyway, a bunch of other goodies. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.